Hello and welcome to Chitchat. I'm your host, First Lady Modesty, aka Miss Fabulous. It is indeed a pleasure to be back with each and every one of you on this Super Sunday, in the famous words of Oprah Winfrey. So I'm giving credit where credit is due. But speaking of due season, I have a very special guest in our studio on today. It's none other than Mr. Teddy Blackmon. Teddy, welcome to Chit Chat with First Lady Modesty.
How you doing?
I am doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm great.
Well, I am just so glad that you decided to be transparent and be willing to share a part of your life with our community. And so today, believe it or not, we're going to talk about his life experience and him being sentenced to a life sentence in a prison for drugs. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. And so what I want to do, Teddy, is go back to the day. Actually, let's go back to the day when, the cops or the feds or whoever came to arrest you. What was going through your mind at that time?
Well, actually, when it came, I was at Mom's house.
Okay.
And they came to the house to actually knock the door in with the big
ram.
Yes. But I had just pulled in the backyard and I was getting in my other car, me and another guy. And I went in the house just to get a CD
right
off the dresser. And when I turned around, they were rushed in the yard. And I was like, what's going on? I mean, why are y'all, I understand I was doing wrong, but here at Mom's house,
Right.
But they ran in the house and they didn't search the whole house. They just searched the room that I was actually standing in. And Mom and my sister was in the other part of the house.
Okay.
And they came in and did what they had to do or whatever. And I had a small amount of drugs on me, and it was a pistol found as well outside actually.
Okay.
And they arrested. I told him it was mine, and of course I told him it was mine and everything. And I got arrested. And I was like, it was a crazy experience, for them just to come there like that,
Right.
Never sold to no informant or none of that. They said they just got a tip.
Right. So I know you can't speak for your mother. I'm a mother. I have two boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even imagine, what your mother must have been thinking, what your mother must have been feeling, or even what, like you said, it was a disrespect. Why are you showing up at my mom's house?
Yeah.
And so I don't want to put words into your mouth. So now you leave from your mom's house and you're sitting in like the county jail, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the treatment like? What did they do? How did they treat you? What did they say?
Well, excuse me. Actually, at that point,
Mm-hmm.
you know how it be. We out here doing what we do, and we got, how everybody have, hookups,
Yes.
from cars. So I had to hook up on a bondsman. So I really didn't stay in jail, but overnight.
Okay, overnight.
So it was like,
But even overnight, you wasn't in your own bed.
No, it was just
Because
my mind thinking, like, man, what is going on? What is this? What is that?
Right.
So there's a lot of questions of what happened, what's going on. I mean, why did this happen? And I ain't found all that out until I got out, the very next morning.
Okay. Well, let's go back because we all know when you go to jail,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like going to the Marriott or the Holiday Inn.
You're right.
I mean, you're how many people were in the cell with you?
Well, actually, they put me in a single cell.
Okay.
Because I told them, I said, I'll be out first thing in the morning. So they didn't put me back in the population.
Okay.
But they just put me in a single cell. And so I slept right there all night, until the next morning, about 6 o'clock. So I was out the next morning.
I'm just curious. Did they give you a blanket, a pillow?
Oh, man. This is a little thin little blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't no pillow in there. I just had a blanket or whatever.
Right.
So I wasn't tripping. I was just laid back,
Okay.
And
Now, did they feed you or offer you anything to eat or to drink?
that morning they did. That night, it was about 7 o'clock when I went in, and guess they had finished feeding for the day.
Right.
So that morning they came with some little stuff, you know.
But it wasn't what you was accustomed
Oh,
to.
no.
I mean, it wasn't like you went to your favorite restaurant.
Oh,
It was like it was whatever, right?
Yeah, it was some little small something. I mean, I didn't eat it. I just looked at it and I was like, I'm good. I'll be out in a minute, you know.
Okay.
So I didn't eat it. I just left it.
All right. So now you're released on bond, and then let's skip ahead to the trial.
Okay.
So even before that, I'm sure you had the best of attorneys at that time, and your attorney is saying one thing, and I'm sure you're believing your attorney because after all, you hired him, you trusted him. You probably knew other people that have maybe experienced the same thing. They're feeding you stuff. You got a lot of people in your ear. So in your mind, what were you thinking? And without giving away the sentence.
See, at that time it's a state and federal.
Okay.
First I had a state case. But then as they thought about it, I guess they figured I can get more time in the federal
All
system,
right.
in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my attorney, he said all that. And then he told me, he said, well, you know, I was out on bond working and everything. And so Mom said they came back by the house again and said they had another warrant for my arrest. I'm like, why? Left me a number. So I had to call the number, and when I called the number, it was the federal prosecutor's number.
Wow.
And he said that my case went from state to fed. So I got to come and turn myself back in and get bonded out again. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I had to do. So I told him, he said, when can you do that? So I told him, can I get a week, at least a week? He said, sure, take a week, just come turn yourself in. So I went through my attorney, and he walked me over there and turned myself in.
Okay. So is that the norm? I'm just going to keep it 100.
Yeah.
Would you say that what you just explained is the norm with black males or people of color? Like it goes from a state level and before you know it, it's a federal level?
Without a doubt, because of course they want to keep, you know, the black inmates, so to speak, in bondage,
Right.
and want to keep, you know, put as much on them as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So in the state level, I probably would have been home in a couple of years or whatever. In the feds, they knew I get more time.
Okay. And so now, if I understand you correctly, first you came out on bond, you started working,
Yes.
and you were doing the right thing, and then all of a sudden, unexpectedly,
Came back.
they came back at you.
That's right.
Oh God. So, and you're willing to turn yourself in?
Yes.
Okay. And the feds were willing to work with you. So, I do know that you have children. Were you married at the time?
Never.
Okay. Never married. How many kids?
3.
So you have your mother, you have your siblings, and your other family members, and of course your beautiful children. So what was that like in terms of thinking about your kids? What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Well, actually, you know, it's not, you know, I don't know what's going on. I can't let my kids down. My mom, of course, I know my kids need me. You know, my mom, she was like disabled. She needs me, you know, and it was just like, you know, a lot of thoughts was going through my mind, you know.
Well, hold that thought.
Okay.
Because when we come back, we're going to dig just a little bit deeper just so that our young people can get a clear understanding of truly what's going on in our judicial system. Don't believe everything that you've seen in the movies and everything that you've heard. We're getting the real nitty gritty on today. This is Chit Chat with First Lady Modesty, and we'll be right back. And we're back. And today my special guest is Teddy Blackmon, and we're talking about his experience being incarcerated, and then we'll get into the part where he was released. So where we left off at was going through your mind, you were thinking about your mother, your siblings, your children, and of course yourself. But all of those individuals came before you.
Right.
So now we're in a courtroom. Take us to the courtroom. And your attorney would have you to believe that you're going to get a certain amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
But then the judge hits the gavel and he gives you how much time?
A life sentence.
Did y'all hear that? He gives you what?
A life sentence.
A life sentence, which means you were never supposed to get out.
That's right.
You were supposed to spend the rest of your life in prison.
That's right.
Wow. So now you have been transported, I'm going to say, from the county jail. And this is my thinking, correct me if I'm wrong. You get transported from the county jail and they take you to federal prison?
Still federal holdover.
Federal hold.
It's another county jail, so to speak.
Okay.
But it's like a holdover where they, hold federal inmates or whatever till they get sentenced. And once they get sentenced, they go on to the, the prisons or whatever they got to go.
Okay. So now you're assigned to the prison that you are supposed to be in. How often do you get to take a shower?
So all this is after sentencing?
Yes.
Okay. Man, showers. Well, the first prison I was at, we was locked in a cell, 2-man cell. And the showers, once they popped the doors, showers is like 5 or 6 showers, like on the back wall or whatever. So we could take showers throughout the day.
Oh, so y'all had you could take a shower anytime?
Yes, throughout the day. Like once the doors are open.
Okay.
So it's certain times we be locked down, and they sent me to a maximum security. So we all like behind the doors, and when they pop the doors, and as long as nothing is going on, like fighting and stabbing and whatever, we can like be out. We have a control movement. Certain time we can move. They tell us when to move, when not to move, whatever. So.
But they tell you when to get up, when to go to bed?
Yes, we have to. They can lock you when they can tell us. They tell us actually when it's time to get locked down for camp. It's time to get locked down for the night.
Okay.
If something go on, they'll close the yard, close the prison down. It's time to get locked down. Don't know how long we'll be locked down. 2 or 3 weeks at a time, 2 or 3 months at a time. We just be locked up on the cell.
Okay. So now you have been sentenced for a drug felony without saying anything about your roommates. Who were you in there with? Because you mentioned that earlier. You were in there with murderers.
Oh yes. I mean, the place I was at, I would say like 98% of the inmates on the yard is by paper is never going home. I mean, the sentence I had, 1 life.
Right.
That was like, okay, all right, you got 1 life. I might ask the next person. We talking or whatever, and he might just mention he got 4 or 5 life sentences.
Wow.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like 200-300 years, 4 or 5 life sentences. I mean, it's like, I'm like, wow, man. So, learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, this is crazy.
Well, since we're talking about life sentences, because what comes to my mind would say, wow, I'm never getting out of here.
Yes.
I'm going to die in this place. That would be the thought that would go through my mind.
Yes.
Did you have those thoughts?
Yes, because to be honest,
yes,
when I first got to the prison, I had a little run-in like the 3rd day. I was there with the guys who's supposed to be leading the Carolina people, which is called the shop caller.
right.
So I had a run-in with him, and we set everything straight. From then on, I was in that particular place for like 7 years.
Okay.
And after then, I was pretty cool with the guys and whatever, but it's like it's crazy, man. The experience there is crazy.
It's an experience that nobody should
Oh,
have to
my
go
God.
through.
I wouldn't wish that. You know what I'm saying? On like my worst enemy.
Right.
I've seen a lot, and I just thank God, because God really redirected my mind like the 3rd day after that time, because I was really my mentality was going left, because I got a life sentence.
Right.
I'm never going home. So I see all this violence going on around here. So I said, okay, this is what it is. So my mindset was like, okay, you got to protect yourself.
Okay.
So you got to get in the same mindset as those guys. But God redirected my mind to a little guy who came to me and never seen in my life. And he just asked me about God. Do I know God? And whatever. And we went from there, you know.
Okay. So you had a visitation from God through a man in prison who already knew God, but you had a relationship with God before going in.
I did.
So it was. Would it be fair to say that this gentleman that approached you was God was reminding you that He was still with you?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Because, like I said, my mindset was like one way.
Right.
And I'm looking at everything around me. Don't know nobody. People from all over, all different nationalities. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just like, wow, I don't know one person here. And it's like, okay, you got to protect yourself. You know, I've been in the streets. I know how to protect myself. So that came back to me. And when dude redirect my mind, my thinking,
Yes.
God sent him to redirect my thinking, man. It was crazy. I mean, and this guy who, I looked at him like, you know, who are you, you know? But he was the type of guy, actually was doing his thing, and he would fight, and he would do whatever too.
Right.
But all in the same token, he spoke to me and he asked me about, do I know God? And me and him met on the yard, right quick. We met on the yard, and he wanted to go over a few things with me. So he didn't have a Bible. He told me to bring my Bible. If I had one, I brought my Bible. And I'm sitting out here on this yard, like a week into the prison. I'm like, man, all these people out here. I mean, what is going on? I mean, so I'm just like, man, mind everywhere. This is the rest of my life? Nah, can't be. So he was telling me, he started going through Bible scriptures and quoting Bible scriptures, and he didn't have a Bible, and he was like, go to this and this, so I go to it. He quoted whatever. He didn't know how much time I had, and he was like, brother, let me tell you something. One thing I want to tell you, no matter how much time you got, it's always somebody worse off than you.
Yes.
And he asked me how much time I had, and I told him. And he said, you know how much time I got? I said, nah. He said, I got 2 life sentences plus, I think, 20 years.
Wow.
I was like, wow. So he said, don't let that, he said, God got you. You'll be all right, God got you. So from that point on, you know, I was like, okay, I was thinking different, you know, the whole time. And it was an experience, man. It was a real experience.
So you were praying, and of course people on the outside were praying for you,
Yes, ma'am.
and believing God for something different.
Yes.
So let's move forward to that.
Okay.
So you have an attorney, and this attorney comes and gives you some news that might just be a glimpse of hope. The first time you heard that, did you believe that it was possible, or were you just like, well, we'll see?
Okay. When I had the life sentence on me, Obama was president at the time.
Yes, 6,000.
Yes, and he was
Yes.
doing the clemencies.
Yes.
And so me and my cellie both had life sentences. He's from Alabama, I think.
What you
Kentucky.
call him?
My cellie.
Your celly. Okay.
Yeah, okay. He was from Kentucky, and we both had life sentences, and both of our lives kind of, you know, correspond with each other, like pretty much the same.
Like
Whatever.
a parallel.
Yeah, so I was
Yes.
like, wow. So and we both had life sentences, and he told me about the clemency thing, what a woman's doing or whatever, and I was like, what? So he started explaining to me what it was, so I was like, oh wow. I said, we might qualify for it. So he was like, you know what, I'm finna file for it. So he did his first. And actually, he was the first one at that prison to do it.
Wow.
And they didn't know how to process it. They didn't know how to do it, so we had to go through the warden. And it came back to him, so I did mine like a week later. And his package came back, and then my package came back, and I was like, wow. So it went on. That was in 2012. I didn't get no relief until 16, right before Obama. I'm sorry, that was in 14 when we filed it.
Okay.
Right before Obama left in 16. Of course, that was in his year, but
Yes.
inauguration is in the beginning of 17, right?
Right.
Okay. At the end of 16, I was at another prison. I had left that prison. I went to a lower security. I got news.
Why did you go to lower security? Was it because of good behavior?
Yes, good behavior, and I was in a program called Challenge Program,
Okay.
and we both was in there, and it was like, challenging your mentality,
mindset.
yeah, your mindset, asking a lot of questions, getting your mindset of, what if this happened, how would you take it? What if this happened, how would you respond to it? How would you,
Okay.
it was like a program like that.
Right.
So we all graduated. I graduated, and once I graduated from the program, I was able to go to a lower security with good behavior and everything. So that's what happened. And in the process of that, I was at lower security, which was November, and a lady up front came and found me on the yard. When he was out on the yard, and said, "There's a police officers or whatever." I was like, "Oh, what happened?" So I'm thinking I'm in trouble.
Right.
So I'm like, "What?" They said, "You Blackmon?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Come here." I said, "Oh." So what's going on? So, but through it all, it was a blessing. So when I seen her, and she was like, I gave my ID and showed her my ID and everything, and everybody was looking like, I'm thinking I'm gonna get locked up for something. I ain't do nothing.
So you think you going to the hole?
To the hole, exactly. I didn't even know you know nothing about the hole. Yeah, exactly.
I done seen a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I've
for
never
real.
been to prison. I done seen a lot of movies, and
Yeah,
I got some friends that
Yeah.
have experienced it as well. So I only know what I've seen on television
Yes.
and what I've heard from people who have experienced it.
Yes,
So
yes.
let me be clear on that. Don't y'all get no ideas, but don't get it twisted. I'm straight from Chicago.
Okay, then,
Yeah, I got that Chi-Town. I got that. Yeah. Don't let the smile. Don't let the smile fool you. I can't even get it out good because Lord didn't want me to say that. But so the lady, she comes in, and you identify yourself,
Mhm.
and they say, okay, this is the man that we're looking for.
Yes.
And then what happened?
They started reading something about, we got a clemency package came for you from President Obama from the White House or whatever. So it was like her and like 2 more officers standing around. So this is no lie. When that lady started reading, she said, "Well, they granted you clemency." So I was like, I just looked up. Oh my God.
Yes.
And everything she was reading on that letter, I ain't even gonna lie. I couldn't even. It's just like, the little Charlie Brown movie, blah, blah, blah. The
Yes.
teacher. That's exactly how it was, because I ain't heard nothing she said. I'm like, I'm just thanking God. Oh my God, thank you.
Are you thanking God to yourself, or is it a public display?
I mean, I was verbally speaking it out, but, it was really to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. But then the only thing I heard at the end was she said, come, it was on a Friday. She said, come see me Monday, and I'm going to give you a new release date. And I was like, that's all I heard. Through all the letters she read, that's all I heard.
Okay.
And I was like, wow. So when I went to her Monday, they reduced my time from a life sentence to like 22 years.
Okay.
And at the time, I think I did like 8 and some change already.
All right.
So, and I was blessed. I was grateful to have that.
Yes.
Because that's a number.
Right.
Life sentence, you don't have no number. 22 years, you got a date to go home, whether I'm old, young, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I got another chance in life, whether it's young or old.
So when you met her, you
Uh-huh.
said you did 8 years.
8.5, something like that.
8.5. Do you know that the number 8 biblically means new beginnings? So that was new beginnings. Your new beginnings started at that time.
Wow.
So now, I mean, we didn't even talk about people having to put money on your books and all of that, because I want to move a little bit further. Take us to the day when it's the day that you are going to be released. You know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're getting ready to walk you out of there. And so let's speed up to that moment.
Okay.
So before they came and got you, what was going through your mind?
Okay, the job I had at another,
Wait a minute, you had a job in prison?
yes,
Did it pay?
it paid.
How much?
Well, certain jobs pay a little more,
Right.
whatever, but this particular job I had, I was making like $105 a month.
A month? Not a day, a month.
A month.
Okay, so with that money, I'm assuming they put that money on your books. And so when you got ready to leave, what happened to that money?
They gave me a card, and all the money I had on my books, it went to the card.
Okay. All right. So all that money went to your books. So when you got ready to leave, just for the sake of this, because I don't want to disclose your financial, let's just say the average person has $200 when they get ready to leave. Do they buy you a bus ticket, a plane ticket? Do they give you transportation? Do they give you money for food? Who is responsible for all of that? Don't answer it yet, because when we come back, we're going to get right down to the heart of the matter. And I don't want you to think that I think that everything within a prison is wrong. They do have some good programs in prison. In the prison, it's up to the individual to take advantage of it. Well, we are running out of time, but I promise you, we will bring Teddy Blackmon back for part 2. I am the host of Chitchat. I'm First Lady Modesty, also known as Miss Fabulous. And so I want to leave you with these closing remarks. Don't allow self-imposed limitations to keep you from fulfilling your dreams. For God allows ordinary people to do extraordinary things. See, it's not about your ability, but it's always about Him. Keep your mind, your heart, your faith, stay focused on Him, family. For God is no respecter of persons. The same thing that He did for me, He'll do for you too. We call this day and week blessed. You know why? Because we're blessed by the best. Make sure you go out, love on somebody, and by all means forgive somebody. Indeed, it's been my pleasure. I am First Lady Modesty, and you've been watching Chit Chat.